Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Podcast, where the DR stands for Driving Results. Our focus is weekly conversations around life and business relationships and the important leadership qualities for both. These concepts and qualities will help you drive positive results in both your business and personal lives. A weekly connection point to help business leaders develop individual contributors, managers, and executives on your teams. We also will tie in concepts around family focus and life lessons to help you drive success in your personal life. Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Show. Let's get after it. Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Podcast. The doctor is in. The office is open. Hope you're having an awesome week. It's been a great weekend for me. My favorite teams are winning ball games. We're getting into that March Madness time frame here. This is recorded a couple weeks in advance, remember, so we're not quite there yet. When this will be released, we will be into the March Madness scheme of things. The best time of year, more fun going on the TV 4 or 5 days a week than the rest of the year. I'm more a football fan, college football fan, but I do love March Madness. So hope you're having a great week. Hey, continue to get positive feedback. Remember, you can reach out to us at the email at drleadership@gmail.com. And also the website, check it out. We've got all sorts of things out there. All the prior episodes are up. You can reach out and give some interaction there as well through our contact page. And remember, subscription member sites out there. Very, very inexpensive to jump in and get access at interviews with other business leaders, not just me, myself, and I, but get some insights from others. And we can be reached there, or you can find us there at www.drleadershipresults.com. www.drleadershipresults.com. So give us a shout, check us out. Had our best download week this week. So continuing the growth, and we greatly appreciate it from everybody. Hey, word of mouth is the only way this thing happens, right? I'm not putting big billboards up. I share some things out on LinkedIn a couple times. Sorry if they keep hitting your post site, but that's how I ensure that everybody's seeing it. But if you would share with your friends, family, and those around you, if you find it insightful, you find something funny, find something that was a good impact or gave you some different ideas, please feel free to share it. That's how this thing works out. So we're going to jump in today. We've been talking about kind of just good attributes. We talked about the village must respond last week. We talked about prospecting the week before. We've talked about collaboration, and going to continue on kind of the interaction and treating people well and looking for other insights out there than your own. I think the key in today's world for both individual contributors, leaders, personal lives, all of the above, is that we have to get out of our own mental bubbles that our way is the only way. Our way is the right way. Everyone else doesn't have good things going on if they don't see it exactly as I do. The world is changing very fast in our personal lives and our business lives, and we have to be open. And this episode, we're talking about how to recognize key attributes of team members or associates around you to maximize your results. If you are an individual contributor, a leader, looking at your family, your friends, the end goal is for the epitome of happiness, the epitome of success, whatever that is in your mind, driving results. That's in the title of the business I created, right? DR leadership, Dr. Leadership. The DR actually stands for driving results. And that's what we're trying to do here, is just help people look for different avenues to have a positive impact on the way they approach things in business and personal lives. So Inc. magazine had a great article this week that caused me to kind of spur on. It's by Martin Zwelling. He's the founder and CEO of Startup Professionals. And he actually ties into a book also called Burn the Boats by Matt Higgins. He's one of the Shark Tank guys. So successful people, all right? This input is coming from others, and I'm sharing information and then tying in my perspectives on it. But what they really talked about in what the Inc. magazine, the first paragraph, I'm just going to read it verbatim so you understand where this thing's coming from. One of the keys to your success is your ability as a leader to nurture relationships and select associates who have the attributes to help you build your career or lead a team rather than just people who will never challenge you or may be looking out for only themselves. Now, to big paragraph, to boil that down, what they're saying is, hey, you got to look for attributes that don't just resound in your bubble. You have to look for attributes as a leader to maximize the results. You don't just engage those that you like in the approach they like. I've had a couple situations over the last couple of weeks where I've got a couple leaders in another division that want everything to go exactly how they see it ought to go. And my division is not creating as much results in that environment as in environments where we're all in it together. And we are open to other ideas and we bring each other in. The collaboration is not as strong. And that is why this is resounding in my mind and resonating in my mind, not resounding. That is why it has resonated in my mind so much about how to get these people to work together and what you can do here. One of the concepts that I want you to always remember is the right people are always better than the best strategy. You can take a football coach, NFL coach, they can have the greatest game plan in the world. But if they don't have agility and if they can't execute, the plan is out the window. You know, Mike Tyson said everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, right? I mean, you have to be able to ebb and flow with the world and the environments we're in. And it takes different outlooks and perspectives to be able to maximize these results. Period. Again, go back to the book, Burn the Boats by Matt Higgins. He goes on to that too on how to maximize engagement from all people. Burn the Boats goes back to, and that's how you get the best out of everybody. It's an old saying or an analogy, how the Vikings, they would show up to conquer a land. And to ensure that everybody was hyper-focused, the leaders would literally burn the boats they came on because we got to win so we can take those people's boats home. Now, I don't want you to burn the boats, the proverbial boats in your business or in your personal life, but understand focus, dedication to the end goal takes the best of everybody to achieve. That's what that's all about. So back to having the right people versus the best strategy. Let's talk about that for a second. In this article in Inc. magazine, they had 5 concepts that I want to touch on and then take off with. Again, these articles are short articles. If you don't get Inc. magazine, I would highly suggest looking at it. Forbes is awesome too. Money magazine's only available online, but great for personal life. You have other great ones. Harvard Business Review has all sorts of content. Hundreds of documents are available every week. And I use them as thought starters, those 5 or 6 I just named. Plus then just the news. There's lots of things in the news every single day on how to not do it and how to do it. And I mean do it in life and in business both. So there's lots of examples out there if you go looking for it. But finding the right people, right? Those associates, starts with kind of looking at 5 key patterns that you always need to be looking for in all business professionals. And you can tie it into personal life too. But there's really 5 that you want to be looking out for in the grand scheme. We talked about interviewing a little bit in the past too, and how when I was in Chicago, we actually did, and I touched on this a few episodes ago, we did a questionnaire and a survey from all of our biggest hitters, all the people that were successful in many attributes. They all did it different ways, but we went to look for commonality on what to kind of look out for. This is a similar concept, right? What to look out for that you make sure that they don't have are a lot of these. And the first one is you don't want people that just rely only on intellect or rely too much on intellect. Some people can come across very intellectual. And as we touched on before, it was a Harvard Business Review. This is 6 or 7 episodes ago. Emotional intelligence is always going to be more valuable to your team members than intellectual prowess, than IQ, right? EQ, emotional intelligence, is more valuable to your successes in life and in business than intellectual prowess. There's always people that are smart in these engagements. Many times there aren't people that are good at interaction and driving collaboration to maximize the results of all those involved in the conversation, in the engagement, in whatever you're talking about here. And you have to be able to read the room, get the most out of the people that aren't engaging quite as much, shut up the A players. I had someone say, you need to know how to manage an A personality, type A personality. Well, type A personalities, their biggest, and I'm a type A personality. We have to understand we don't have all the right answers. And we see this a lot. What good looks like to some leaders, and this leader I was talking about, evidently what good looks like is a number on the board. Be damned the people they work with. Be damned the emotional harm and stress they're putting on the relationships on the inner team. But he or she actually, hey, they hit the number at the end of the year. Yeah, some people would probably say that Al Capone was a good businessman too. He killed a lot of people to make the results happen that made him rich. That isn't what you want on your teams either. You got to make sure the emotional intelligence is in line here. You have to be able to effectively take and give feedback. And type A's, many times, are great at dishing it out, but are terrible at eating the feedback. I'll say my saying again. Feedback is a gift if you choose to accept it. And there are many people that aren't good at that because they think it portrays them as weak. That is not the case with feedback at all. Feedback is your greatest tool to continue to sharpen your own skill set, your engagement capabilities, your interaction skills, the emotional intelligence. To be able to read what's going on, and you don't have to be the loudest in the room to successfully hit the numbers. Some folks even take this type A personality or lack of emotional intelligence to some very, very dark places. And those dark places are narcissism, right? You don't want that to come into it that I'm right and you get that narcissistic characteristic. It's the ugliest characteristic in humankind. Then the other thing that happens is when you have that kind of mindset is when feedback's coming at you or a different idea's coming at you, condescending communication starts to happen. You start to attack or minimize people with different ideas and approaches. And what happens eventually is those people with those good ideas that weren't your ideas will quit sharing them. And then you're on this island alone as a type A personality that you better hope your skill set can stay up with all of the changing times. You better hope that your customers don't see into it and don't read into it because condescending behavior, tough word this morning, condescending behavior and narcissism will show up in front of your customers too. People don't like dealing with those type of people. You may be successful on the board today, but you're not going to be successful at some time down the road if you have those attributes showing up. The second thing that this Inc. article touched on was don't be deferential to potential disagreement. You want people around you to listen, right? You want people around to hear you, but you really, really want them all to have confidence to be able to disagree to help be innovative as a team. And what that means is this. Think about it for a second. You want them to hear you. Let's use the type A personality again. I'm in charge. He or she is in charge in their minds, right? So listen to me. This is what we're going to do. But you don't want such an environment. I talked about this in the collaboration meeting episode a few weeks ago. You don't want to come in as a gorilla in the room, as the holding everybody down and stifling interaction because of fear of repercussions or fear of being called stupid, condescending, fear of being called, kindergarten type approach to business, condescending. You want them to feel strength enough that they can confidently interact with you. You want them to have confidence so that disagreement can lead to innovation and better solutions. Some people are just bully by nature. And the best way to handle a bully, and this is off the topic of work, but in personal life, I go right at bullies. I am going to stand up and walk right to your face. It is my least favorite personality type in the world. And you see it, and I've gotten myself into some trouble on, not trouble, potential, but airlines and flights where people are just rude and bad behavior. I will step into an engagement and say, hey, stop that crap. You don't get to treat people like that. Who do you think you are? When my wife and I were first dating, I had 2 interactions on airplanes like that in about a 7-week period. And she's like, is this going to continue to be a problem? I said, only for people that act like that. And I can't stand it. I will not allow people to be rude, to be demeaning. It's okay to be driven. It's okay to be focused, but don't bully. It's especially clear when in today's world, in my world, it's a very, very complex solution set that we're working on. Maybe your business is the same. It's the same in life. Life is complex. There's a lot of context. There's a lot of outside noise that gets involved in a lot of decisions. If you're a bully and driving only your way or the highway mentality, you aren't going to get the best results. Okay? There's a lot of context that needs to be understood in things. And there's a reason that we have an acronym called SME, subject matter expertise. You need to allow those people to speak up. The next item that was talked about, hey, you gotta, unfortunately, man, I hate politics. Both sides, when you talk about it on a national scheme, they're all goofballs. But office politics and corporate politics, and even politicking as a parent with loved ones in the neighborhood, in your community, etc., you got to have some skills. And the number one thing, again, it all ties together. Everything can't go your way. There's a little give and take in life. Is this a hill to die on or not? Do I establish some cred in my pocket for the next time I need a favor by giving a little bit here? Nothing is 100%. Barbara Bush had a great thing. They asked, is the secret to your successful marriage to her husband, the president, that everything's 50-50? She goes, no, the success to marriage, I think it was 75-75. Sometimes you give 75-25. Sometimes you give more than you get. Sometimes it's 100% for your loved one. Sometimes it's 100% for your business associate on this one. You have to understand that there's ebb and flow in all this stuff. It's not going to go your way every time in life. You aren't always a winner. You aren't always the loser. But you have to be able to handle it. You have to have interpersonal awareness. I wrote this word down, awareness. Because if you can't see that you're being a jerk or a bully or condescending, that's the first problem. And someone needs to step in and help with that. It's okay to come to somebody and the feedback is, listen, I don't want to say I don't want you to take this wrong because your behavior is not very good right now, but you're being a bully or you're being condescending. You can be a type A personality and still be a very loving and caring individual. Type A is just driven. Type A doesn't mean an asshole. Type A doesn't mean a jerk. Type A doesn't mean being condescending. You have to be able to get your points across through intellectual and emotional intelligence. And you got to be able to build constructive relationships. This goes to the community too. You think about things that are road rage incidents. People get shot, cars get wrecked. It's like you're just driving to the store, man. Let the crazy guy or gal go on being stupid. Life's going to catch them. Karma's going to catch them. Don't get wound up and angry about that stuff. In a vehicle, people getting shot, people getting run off the road, etc. Work on being positive in relationship building. Interact with the people around you. Hey, how are you? How you been? Everything going okay? Life will throw awful things at you and great things at you. You need to be able to handle both types of things that are coming at you, and that will lead to constructive relationships. If you are in a work environment and the relationship of the team is not constructive, is not positive, is not respectful, that team is not going to work well at some point down the road. When you have a positive locker room environment, to use sports analogies again, those teams succeed. When you like each other and you believe in each other, those teams succeed. I'll talk about my Iowa Hawkeyes here for a minute. So the Michigan State basketball game, they're down by 13 points with 1:34 left. ESPN odds makers have it 99.8%. The Hawkeyes can't beat Sparty. The Iowa Hawkeyes, love them or hate them, I happen to love them. Frustrated at times with them. But that team truly likes each other. That team truly shares the ball. That team truly understands that I don't get to take all the shots. They have an absolute star on there, Chris Murray. his oldest brother, Keegan Murray, is in the NBA after last year, top player in the country last year. His twin brother could have more points per game. He's averaging 24, second or third in the country, but he also has a very high assist ratio. In the business world, you want to have a high assist ratio to your scoring points on things going your way. In life, it is great to be that person that gives assists, to help others, to lean into the community, to talk to your neighbor, etc. You got to handle all of that, right? That's all about the workplace politics. Another thing they say to look out for are people that can't share credit for success. And this is true in work and life. There are people out there that root against others because they want the limelight. That's bad. That is bad. You want to be overly supportive for friends and people that are successful around you. Why would you not want others to be successful in this great thing we call life? Why would you not want others to be able to hold their hands up and get a high five instead of give one? That goes back to that, I say it all the time, me mentality versus we mentality. Not good in business, not good in personal life. The social media effect, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, has focused people's caring all to themselves. Everybody wants to be the next Kardashian. Everybody wants to be the next who knows what, star athlete, personality. I want nothing to do with that world. First of all, 95% of it's fake and filtered. Nobody looks like that. The only thing I can say about Instagram and all these pictures now is it looks like we've got a bunch of carp in the world. Everybody's injecting their faces and their lips and everything. It's all just fake because they're trying to be held to some standard that isn't important, that makes them feel good. That's why you see these people, influencers jumping off of buildings at 18 years old because someone had some sort of negative comment to them. They can't handle any negative connotation. Everything's about them. It's okay, man. If somebody has something negative to say about you, just use your guardrails, tune them out of your life. But you have to be able to handle sharing credit and success with other people in life. The leaders or contributors will never get the following if they are all about them. Hey, I took the team to a new level. I made the changes on the team to get this thing to the next level and to drive the win. I caused the big customer engagement to happen. BS. It's bad business. It's bad in personal life. High five others. That's why I'm in leadership. I love seeing other people succeed. I do not understand leaders in life or in business that are in leadership that want to make the wins and successes about them. As a leader, your job is to make other people better. Your job is to bring other people into the limelight. Head coaches are not the limelight on an all-star athletic team. Coach Reed, after the Super Bowl, gives the credit to Kelsey and Mahomes, who deserved it. Those are good leaders. They understand what their position is, to get the most out of people, to get more out of people than they think they can get out of themselves. Listen closely to those people's language that are looking for the credit. Language selection is very important. Language is a make or break scenario to create fellowship. There's these things called covert narcissist. They have a quiet smugness, right? A condescending look. Condescending engagements. A sense of superiority. They're just, these people, no one's superior. Everyone has the same opportunity to be successful. Everyone can be. Everyone has different, I don't want to say luck, because luck is brought on by your actions. Luck is always associated to those people that, if you look real close, have done a lot of really hard work. Luck is a term towards success around things that other people aren't willing to do. Successful people do what unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. But you don't need to be in a sense of superiority if you're being successful. Inattentiveness is another one. your body language, your personal language. If someone is starting to give an idea and you just say, I don't like that person, they go about business differently, and you just start talking over them, shame on you. That's inattentiveness, and that is a condescending behavior and a sense of superiority in your own mind. You're never as good as you think or as bad as they say, I had a boss tell me years ago. Wow. That's a good statement. We're all real proud on our own selves. Sometimes others point out weaknesses and can be condescending. So remember, somewhere in the middle lies the truth on your capabilities and skill set. You should be confident in yourself. Don't be cocky. You should be able to turn the switches off from other people that are being negative towards you, but you have to be open-minded to input and feedback. So there's a fine line there, right? You have to be able to handle that fine line. The other thing that these people that aren't successful and can't, the attribute that you don't want to maximize success as an individual for interacting with others or as a team leader, is you don't want people that are unwilling to show or admit that they have any weaknesses. It all ties back to this feedback stuff. These people, they evade questions. The feedback push their own agenda versus listening when they're getting feedback. Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but. Don't say but. Thank you for the feedback. One of the things when listening to that makes me think of is this. What are your thoughts on that? Continue the conversation. If you have concerns in it working, that's good dialogue. That's discourse, right? That's communicating with each other on differences to find out where the right path is between the 2 points of view. You don't want to be a person that isn't willing to say, you know what, I didn't get it right. I don't know it right. We talked about that in the meetings that we discussed last week. 3 weeks ago, I think now, actually. Look for listeners. Look for people that are willing to hear. 2 ears, 1 mouth, use them in proportion, right? I've said that before. You're looking for honesty. You want authentic interaction and people that aren't afraid to raise their hand and admit mistakes. This goes clear back to like episode 3-4 when we talked about accountability. Accountability is raising your hand when it's gone well or when it's gone bad. You need people that are accountable for when it's not going right too. They're able to admit they made a mistake. They did something wrong. How does this thought process play out in our personal lives as well as our business lives? I want to talk about Michigan State's head coach, Tom Izzo. I brought him up. The Hawkeyes, great. The team loves him, beats Tom Izzo. Now I'm going to use Tom Izzo as an example in an absolutely terrible scenario that happened at the time this episode will be released over a month ago that was simply awful. The shooting by a crazy mentally ill person with a handgun at the Michigan State campus, who then took their own life. One note to everybody out there. If you're going to commit suicide, do it without hurting others. Walk off into a field and pop. Just, first of all, raise your hand and get help. I don't want anybody to be that way. Something is wrong there. The family had to know something was wrong there. Step into your community and your loved ones. Grab them by the arm and say, something doesn't seem right. Talk to me. But here we are. A terrible thing happened. Michigan State coach brought up 3 incredible thoughts that tie in with this episode. It was a speech at a vigil, on campus, and it was about what to do to help heal and help make our community better. The first thing he said, and it's about a 7-minute speech. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Tom Izzo is a wonderful coach and life lesson contributor. Love him or hate him as a basketball coach. If you hate him, it's probably because he whoops your tail in the tournament every year. He can barely slide into the tournament and get to the Final Four better than anybody. But the first thing he said was, look around. How many times have we talked about introduce yourself to someone? Shake a hand. How are you? Be human. Set the phone down in public. Put it in your pocket. It'll be okay for 30 minutes. I was on a great bus ride from the airport to the rental car this last week when I was down I landed in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, going to Boca Raton for some meetings. And I had a great conversation with a military vet on that trip. Navy guy. Another military vet came up and handed him a cloth star and said, I want to give this to you, but you got to read the back first. And it was about, we appreciate you, and not everyone understands what it took to go do what we did. And then we had a great conversation. He had a submariner's hat on. My nephew's in the nuclear technology, nuclear mechanical servicing these nuclear subs down in Charleston. Went down there, is now actually teaching one of the classes after 2 years. Just amazing to me. But it was great because I didn't have my phone up in my face, and I got to have this great interaction with people that are 1 and 2 generations older than me. One was a Korean vet, the other was a Vietnam vet. They have a lot of good stuff to give you. I shook their hands, thanked them for the service, and just walked away smiling. It was such a great thing. I go out, often, ask others about their day, and then ask second-level questions. Not just, hey, how you doing? Good, thanks. Don't stop there. Well, what's making the day so great? You enjoying the weather? Just put a secondary in there and have some communication with people. Say, I appreciate you to people. I do that to the flight attendants. One thing I've always tried to do when I'm getting off the plane, the captain and co-pilot's doors open and the flight attendants are standing at the end. And I always say, hey, thanks, great job. Hey, nice landing, guys, gals, whoever's in the cockpit. Appreciate you getting me here safe. Have a great day. They smile because they handle grumpy people. Travel can be stressful. Give some people a little positive outlook, right? Say, I appreciate you. The next thing Izzo said was we need each other. In times of pain, in times of sorrow, and in times of joy. COVID has separated us, folks. It's turned everybody into introverts. We were scared, sitting on our tails for years. Now we don't want to go back to work. Now it's woe is me. We keep our heads down. We've become passive-aggressive. Drop the last 3 years of history and get back into society. Be a warm and welcoming neighbor. Be a warm and welcoming business associate. High-five others for the hard work they're doing. The last thing Izzo said, and he wears his emotions on his sleeve, said be vulnerable. That ties right back into the end. Be able to say you were wrong. Open yourselves up. He wears emotions on his sleeve. He loves these young men that he's turning into grown men. Women's basketball coaches turn young ladies into young, mature, in society ladies. Coaches are having positive impacts on people's lives, making them better to interact with everybody. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It is key for building results in all things in life. Happiness for others, talking to others, get to knowing others. The reason is lots of people out there are just like you. You're awesome. Keep that shit up. Talk next week.